This project is a master dissertation connected to the contested legacy engagement in Faculty of Architecture in KU Leuven. I will explain my design by research process in 3 chapters in this video. First, the urban context. The project site is located in Istanbul, Turkey. With a population of 15 million people, it is the most crowded city in Turkey and one of the most urbanized cities in the world. Throughout history, Istanbul, formerly Constantinople, ancient Byzantium, was always a popular location desired by most empires. This ancient city has dynamic and dense urban typologies and activities with diverse cultural crossovers because of its great past. Being the only land connector of Asia and Europe in a country surrounded by 4 different seas made Istanbul an important international port city and the heart of Turkish industry. In the Ottoman and Byzantine periods, the city developed along the shores of the Golden Horn. Through it became the most significant part of the city, which contains numerous cultural heritage and daily life practices. Haliç Shipyards, originally named Tersane-i Amire, was founded in 1455 by the order of famous Ottoman Sultan Fatih Sultan Mehmet, the conqueror of Istanbul. Originally, the complex was containing 3 shipyards, also known as the Imperial Shipyards, which are Camialtı, Taşkızak, and Haliç. Unfortunately, today Camialtı and Taşkızak is privatized and under construction to become a luxury residential complex. In contrary, Haliç Shipyard is still operating as the oldest living shipyard in the world and is an integral part of the Golden Horn's heritage as it contributed enormously to the development of the coastal region and created a naval identity. The Golden Horn in Ottoman and early Republican era has been home to many industries and always considered as a center of production and a resting place for the sailors. The imperial shipyards in the Golden Horn attracted new factories to be built around the region with the urgency of keeping up with the latest developments and technologies in the global industry. Over time, the industry-focused economy in Turkey gave way to the construction-focused economy, and today the government is trying to attract the middle and upper classes back to the city center at the cost of gentrifying and displacing the indigenous inhabitants of the historical neighborhoods around the Golden Horn by encouraging rent-oriented, expensive investments. The privatization project in Camialtı and Taşkızak is called Tersane Istanbul. Similarly, for the past 20 years, the Haliç shipyard is facing the danger to be sacrificed to the brutal urbanization strategies masked under fake promises. In 2019, the new mayor of Istanbul is elected and the municipality cancelled the previous like-minded proposals on the site to prevent the privatization of the shipyard. Instead, they thought about designing a maritime museum and opening some part of the shipyard to be public to tell the story of the shipyard's legacy to the citizens. Even though the site seems very reachable at first glance and surrounded by important attraction points, it acts as an urban void. There are major roads continuing along the coastline, and when they coincide with the private zones or elevation differences, the publicness of the coastline gets disturbed. In the drone photo, we see extreme elevation differences in the topography and highways, resulting in an impermeable coastal area. The highlighted cyclone and pedestrian routes coming from the Perşembe Bazar recreational area are suddenly cut off by the Atatürk Bridge. When looking at the 2 sections of the shipyard, we can see the tension rise between a couple of opposed elements, which are also the most important characteristics of the site, like dry and wet, high and low, open and enclosed, horizontal and vertical. Even though these elements are acting as spatial separators, they are the qualities which should be honored in the design to carry the spirit of the place to the future. Istanbul's relationship with the water and topography has shaped the coastline typologies over the years. Looking now, with all the good and bad, it is a colorful mosaic and unbreakable note in urban culture. Next is cultural context. Being a port city that connects 2 continents with unique geography, Istanbul has been home to many cultures and ethnicities throughout history. While the historical buildings, places, monuments, streets, etc., which are the public gathering points, have a place in the collective memory, there is also another layer of spatial cultural memory that has been evolving with the topography and nature. The inevitable link between these two layers together creates the daily habits of people in Istanbul. The city creates its own charm with these bonds established with the sense of belonging of Istanbulites to their city. For instance, a trip by ferry is a heartwarming activity that reminds one of that mellow summer day in Istanbul's islands and melts the borders with strangers. Turk's physical conversation with the sea has started with the sea hammams, which dated back to 17th century. Sea hammams were serving as a semi-closed refreshment and some bathing points on the hot summer days. Sea hammams were actually very popular that they even came until the 70s. However, after the establishment of the Turkish Republic, as a part of the modernization movements all around Turkey, the first president and the founder Mustafa Kemal Atatürk supported the Republic beaches to be opened all around Istanbul, as he thought the Turks' relationship with the sea was weak even though the country is surrounded by water on three sides. In fact, he immediately turned Florya Mansion, one of the first modern sea mansions in Istanbul, which was given to him by the municipality, into a public beach and swam with the people. All these moves contributed to the popularity of the Republic beaches even more. Nowadays, past water habits have long been forgotten, and the sea has become only a transfer channel and a beautiful sight to look at instead of being directly involved by the people. The last chapter is architectural proposal. In the light of my research, I wanted to design a minimalistic but exemplary intervention that will not only contribute to the reintroduction of the Halit shipyard, but also help to reconnect with the coastal life through the culture of water. The warehouse located in the periphery of the shipyard next to the entrance door is selected as a vacancy to work on because of its strategic location and the uncertain idea of the municipality to make that part public. Also, the strongest people activity is around there because of the park station and the social facilities located. The first design move is to provide a public flow to the site by extending the cut connection of the pre-existing bike and pedestrian route in the Perşembe Bazaar area. Then a peri-urban passage is created as an extension to the existing warehouse, which ties and channels the human flow in every direction and creates an encounter point with the Halit shipyard. I placed multiple architectural programs inspired by the old coastal habits throughout the whole master plan. While the Halit shipyard will continue its operation as before, there will be more public space for leisure activities such as boat riding and fishing, protected pools to swim like in sea baths, a ferry station, water decks like the lively water piers of the Republic beaches. The idea and the plan is to have maximum openness and flexibility to think of the station as an urban form in which many different kinds of activities can be done with the movement of the people. There are long horizontal and vertical access passages that connect the shipyard, the urban life, and the sea. On the tip of the new extension, there is a ferry departure point connected with a marina for ship mooring and fishing. In the body part, there is a sea bath consisting of three different pools for people to enjoy the seaside and do water-related activities. Where the two building connects, the bike and pedestrian route goes by and can be considered as a threshold between the old and new part of the building. The warehouse will serve as a flexible event space. A modular dynamic shell will be mutually used by both parts of the building by installing horizontal slides on the rooftops and the elevation sides of the old and new structures. Both of the spaces can benefit from the openness and don't need to be fully insulated considering the building programs and the convenience of the climate. The outer shell can move according to user needs of day and night time. On the other end of the warehouse, which can be seen in the exploded diagram, there will be an urban elevator that will connect the people to a mezzanine route goes till a ferry departure point, and therefore the whole structure behaves like a peri-urban passage to the sea. This is the general view of the project with the shipyard and the historical Beyoğlu silhouette. In the animated diagram, I try to explain the formation of the project. At step 1, highlighted buildings and the border wall will be removed because they don't have a heritage value and some are in bad condition. By this, the historic wood atelier will be restored in the shipyard silhouette. Step 2. The outer layer of the warehouse will be removed and an extension through the Golden Horn will be created. The pedestrian and biking route will be continued through the shipyard and where the old entrance was located. Step 3. Two big decks will be added to the new ground extension for the water-related activities. Step 4. A mezzanine connection with an urban elevator will be added to generate mobility in both ways together with the coastal extension. Step 5. Protected pools will be provided for people to enjoy the seaside and relax. A new wooden structure which will be made in the wood atelier will be installed. Step 6. Horizontal colored wood elements will be used to generate different spatial organizations and will provide shading when the outer shell is open. A mutual polycarbonate shell will be used by the both buildings, while in the daytime the space will work as a fare station and relaxation place, and in the nighttime concerts and events can be done. In this section we see the behaviorology and the materiality of the building from the urban elevator to the ferry departure point. To give more detail, I drew some sections from the building, the spatial behaviorology on that part. This drawing shows the interiors and water deck which connects three pools. On the left image we see the urban elevator connected to the mezzanine going through the old warehouse area. And on the right we see modular seating and stage elements which can be carried by the pre-existing crane in the warehouse. The ferry departure point with the seating connected to the new wooden structure which will be crafted in the wood atelier next to the warehouse. The pedestrian and cycling route goes between the connection of the two buildings, which can be considered the new welcoming area to the shipyard. Here are some model photographs. In the video, I tried to capture the spatial experience of the route. Here is a perspective from the sea bluffs. View from the boat rental area towards the machine atelier of the shipyard. The interior of the new extension looking to the historical Naval Army building. Another interior perspective through the ferry departure point. Perspective from the water deck with the silhouette of the historical peninsula. Here is the spatial quality of the mezzanine. The old warehouse building and the connection through the newly added arched windows to the wood atelier. View towards the ferry departure point and the Golden Horn. Thank you for listening. For more in-depth information, you can read my reflection paper.